Okay, so I just dropped myself at school. I'm now driving home. I was gonna stop and get an Apple TV, but before I do that, I'm actually gonna go home and make this video because it gave me a great idea for a video I've been wanting to make. So I am officially switching over to Mac, and I never thought I'd say that because I've always been a very stern and sure Android and PC supporter, but I gotta say Apple is it's been a very enjoyable experience. I kept noticing for years now that every time I wanted a mobile app and I don't want very many, but every time I wanted one for anything, it seemed like the apps I wanted were only available on iOS, or the highest rated best apps for photography were only on iOS. Or in my case, I had got the subscription to, it was like the Creative Cloud, Lightroom, and Photoshop together, and you get to use Lightroom Mobile. And on Android, it was awful. But it's been optimized for iOS. On top of that, although I think that my Google Pixel had a better stills camera, where iPhone really excels though, and I always saw this and was honest with myself about it, was that iPhone does better video. With stills capture, if you want to take photos, you're better off with the Galaxy or Google Pixel or something like that, maybe even an HTC phone. And I really wanted to start using my phone for my vlogs, which I started doing with my Google Pixel. So I was aware that, man, between the editing apps and the actual video function itself, it sure would make my life easier if I had an iPhone. But as you can imagine, I can't just run out and buy an iPhone on a whim. I had already purchased a brand new Xiaomi Mi 5S Plus, which was a great phone, and I actually really liked it. Xiaomi is doing good stuff. And then when I went to visit the US, I got a Google Pixel, which was a love-hate relationship. Fantastic stills camera, but the phone as a whole I really did not enjoy using at all. When I got back to Taiwan, I decided that instead of using my desktop for all my photo and video editing, like I had been doing before, because I had built a custom desktop just for that, I decided I wanted to be mobile. I wanted to choose the XPS 13, or if I wanted to go with the Razer Blade, or if I wanted to go with what was the Spectre, or if I wanted to go with a MacBook. I wasn't sure, but I did come across a good deal on an iPad Air 2. I thought, okay, this is cheap, it's a good deal, it's a big screen, it fits in my bag, it has good battery life, and I'll get to play with the iOS apps, see how I like them. So I bought an iPad Air 2 for all of my video and photo editing. Now, I was hesitant about using an iPad for everything. I had owned several Android-based tablets, and I hated them. The tablets, I felt, didn't offer anything extra. It not only seemed like an oversized phone, but it was in many cases, it seemed less powerful and less smooth than a flagship phone. So deciding to even try an iPad, I already expected to hate it. That's important to note. I actually went into it with the mindset that I wasn't going to enjoy it. What I quickly discovered was that I loved using the iPad. Call it what you will, even going in with a biased mindset that I wasn't going to like it and I was going to have to turn around and sell it, I really enjoyed it. Oh man, I love this. I love my iPad. God, I love this. What a good purchase. Man, I love this. I love this. It's so awesome. This is so good. Such a good purchase. I'm so glad I bought this. All the apps I was able to get for it were awesome. The user interface was awesome. The editing process was awesome. And I know some people don't like editing on tablets, especially if you already have your workflow figured out on a laptop. But for me, it was fantastic. With the type of editing I do, which isn't very much, as you can probably tell, I loved it. Just the whole experience was great. And it made me think more about, man, I need to look more into other Apple products, because if this iPad is any indication of what it's like to have Apple products, then I need to take a second look and think more about it. So I recently bought the iPhone 7 Plus and got rid of my Google Pixel. And honestly, considering the kind of complaints it had and the heat that it caught when it came out, I being one of the people that gave it shit, I really, really enjoy it. It is an enjoyable experience to use it. It's very well-rounded. It has great interface, great apps, and I thought, man, okay, so maybe I should look into other Apple stuff. So, great opportunity. I'm gonna go buy Ellie an iPad Pro. She picked out the exact one that she wanted, which was the 12.9 inch, the one that just came out, and she loves it. She had an iPad Air 2 as well, and she loves the 12.9 iPad Pro. I really liked it. I was very, very impressed. But then I had a decision to make. I thought, oh, so for my editing, do I want to get an iPad Pro 12.9, or do I switch over to a MacBook Pro? For obvious reasons. And that's when I started thinking about getting an Apple Watch. But as I was going to look at an Apple Watch, I noticed the Apple TV. I thought, I don't know anything about the Apple TV. It sounds stupid, honestly, but maybe that's because I don't know anything about it. And I started looking into it, started watching videos, started reading up, and it looked really, really cool. I thought, man, why do people not talk about this more? It seems awesome. But there's only one way to find out, so I'm gonna go buy an Apple TV. Just got a new Apple TV, never used one before. You know, in all the videos I've watched with this Apple TV, I thought it'd be bigger. This thing is tiny. Look at that. It fits inside my palm, basically. Inside my palm. From the tip of my fingernail, it just barely crosses the back knuckle on my first finger here. It's not big at all. We are loving our Apple TV. The touchpad on the remote and the voice control and everything else. It's just awesome. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna get a MacBook Pro because it has programs I want to use, it has software I want to use, it's all optimized, and it's gonna be my best bet. Oh, and for you guys who are saying that no, a MacBook Pro will not perform better than a PC because it's not fair to compare the MacBook Pro's performance when using Final Cut Pro to a PC using Adobe Premiere. That's not a very valid argument. Final Cut Pro was specifically designed to work with the Mac. It's optimized for it. It's a way that you can edit video and get the best performance. So obviously you're going to use that. That's like saying, well, you can't really call 4K video better unless you're comparing 4K and 1080 while viewing it on a 1080 screen. Because after all, 4K monitors are optimized for 4K video. 4K video is optimized for 4K monitors. So that's not fair because one is optimized. Not a good argument. Having made this decision, it has now brought me full circle to why I'm deciding to switch over to Apple completely. Apple has the best warranty. Anytime I've ever tried to fix or replace anything under warranty with any other company, it's been like pulling teeth. Apple, on the other hand, will absolutely replace your stuff 100%, no questions asked, and they'll do it fast. Anytime we have ever had a problem with one of Ellie's iPhones, because she's been using them for years, she'll take it in, and there's no questions, there's no bullshit, there's no nothing. They say, huh, yeah, it looks like I might have an issue. and they give her a brand new phone. All of the best apps are either only available on iOS, or if they are available on both platforms, they have been optimized for iOS. All of the best accessories either come out for iPhone first, or they are only available for iPhone. Same goes with MacBooks, iPads, etc. The ecosystem is fantastic. It's all made by the same people. It's all meant to work together flawlessly. You never, ever have to worry about compatibility issues or anything like that. The Final Cut Pro and MacBooks is a good example of optimization, and that goes across the board with all Apple products. The software and the hardware works flawlessly together. Apple has the best resale value, period. That's a big deal for guys like me. The way I fund additional purchases, new items, a new camera, a new computer, a new phone, partially is by selling off my old stuff. In the past, I've always just had to accept that I'm going to take a very big loss, even if it's something new, even if it's something current. No Android or PC device ever retained its resale value nearly as well as it should, considering the initial cost and what the specs are and everything else. On the other hand, Apple products always hold their value. Obviously, you're not going to get the same amount that you paid for it new, but it's not far off. The gap that you have to fill to upgrade to the new product is much, much smaller. A much older MacBook or Apple phone will cost more money used than a much newer used PC or Android phone. This tells me that financially, buying into Apple is a much better investment. So the conclusion for me is pretty simple. I've never been an Apple fanboy. I've always used Android. I've always used PC. I've been able to do everything I need to do. But there's been a lot of wasted money, and there's been a lot of frustration along the way. Here lately, we've been buying a lot more Apple stuff, one piece at a time, seeing how we like it, and every purchase confirms that the Apple ecosystem is what's best for me and what's best for us. If you don't like Apple, you don't like Mac, that's totally fine. I would suggest you try to be honest with yourself and really think what it is that you don't like about it. Maybe it's the price, maybe it's the operating system, whatever it is. I used to be the guy making fun of Apple. I used to be the guy that would look at the spec sheets and just like scoff, just like, oh, fucking ridiculous. Real world, outside of the spec sheets, I actually prefer Apple. Maybe it's worth a look for you if you're not an Apple fan. And if you are an Apple fan, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys do what you're gonna do. Be safe, have fun, enjoy your life. It only goes around once. Good luck. See you later.